Hello ladies and gentlemen, this is Blue Maxima, and I'm here talking to the wall again. Hopefully this will get more views than the last one I did. So I do apologise for missing last week, but with the Game Awards, the Kinda Funny Games Showcase, the fact that I had like 5 videos to do, and just generally being tired after doing that Smash Ultimate stream, yeah, things were a little bit, what's the word for them? A little bit nuts. So I ended up not really being able to do it. So this week is going to have to cram in about 2 weeks worth of news, and there is a bunch of crap that's been going on, so we might as well go and have a quick powwow about it all. The game that you're looking at in the background is Streets of Rage 2. If anyone ever tells me that I have no reason to play Streets of Rage 2, I will call them a liar, because Streets of Rage 2 is awesome. So, of course, I will thank the patrons, as always. Thanks to Alan, Billy, Blizz, Brett, Caleb, Chen, Christoph, David, Edia, Eric, Gary, Joey, the other Joey, Christopher, Matthew, Miguel, Mathaldu, Raymond, Rodrigo, Sackchief, and Z for their continued support. If you want to be on one of these weird little Patreon lists, there's a link in the description if you want to support me. And of course, there's the PlayAsia affiliate link too. They've been helping me out a lot the last week or so I really need to show some more appreciation for them, but their videos just have this annoying tendency to not come out for one reason or another. So I said I'd cover Vita news in these things for people who missed that, and well, we'll do that right quick. There have been a few things that I'm not going to go over, like there's been a fair few physical releases that have already come out and therefore are kind of worthless, but nevertheless. So we were supposed to get Atari Flashback Classics and the 25th anniversary edition of Night Trap this week, but as of this recording, they're not actually out yet. I have asked for a review code for both, but I haven't gotten anything back. I might need to go and actually buy them. So when they do come out, I will do my best. To Otome, London Detective Mysteria is out on the 18th of this month, and Code Realize Wintertide Miracles is out on the 14th of February. We are apparently getting As Divine Hearts 2 on Vita, and I'd rather hang myself. Eve Burst Era is getting a sequel called Eve Revive Terra, Reincarnate Terra. I don't bloody remember the name of it. But yeah, it's actually happening, but of course, we're not actually getting the normal Eve Burst Era here on the Vita, so it's not like it matters. And my personal favorite bit of news, Power Pro 2018 is getting the 2019 player data, which is good because that means that game is still getting supported. I love those little games. Can't wait for Pro Yaku Spirits 2019 myself, but there you go. So let's get on to the news. I don't want to talk about all the announcements because there was a lot of them, and there's only a couple that I'm particularly concerned with myself, so if they're relevant, I'll just bring them up. We're mainly just going to talk about the major news. Rather, how the Game Awards was complete shit. Like, how long was it for one? It was 4 hours? 3.5 hours? And most of it was anti-vaping ads? Like, what the hell was that about? Like, those ads were so cringy. Like, it almost made me want to go and start vaping just to stick it to the people who thought those bloody commercials were any good. Of course, there were countless ads for Magic the Gathering Arena, which has gone and nerfed like 90% of the good rewards on the one good event that they have, because card games suck these days. Artifact has gone straight downhill. That's really unfortunate. I wanted to talk about that game, but I don't think I'll get the opportunity now. And with Magic the Gathering Arena doing that, Hearthstone being crap as always, and all of that stuff, it's just, nobody can bring out a good card game anymore. It either has to be a deck builder in the sense of like Slay the Spire, or it has to be a free-to-play microtransaction-driven thing like Hearthstone or MTGA. It just doesn't seem to be a good TCG where you can actually do the CG part without having to pay tons of money. Still, they had a couple of good announcements in there. Crash Team Racing HD put a smile on my face. It does look just how it used to, except, you know, flashier. There was the enhanced version of the Stanley Parable. I actually really do like the Stanley Parable. I mean, I'm not the sort of person who'll, like, hype it up as, like, the best thing in video games. Cough, cough, gone home, cough, cough. But I did like the Stanley Parable for what it was, and I am looking forward to playing the XL version. And everyone's going on about the Outer Worlds, which personally I don't really have any attachment to, but I'll get it anyway when it comes out. It does look interesting at the very least. But yeah, for the most part, the announcements were like independent trailers and stuff like that. Although I will give them credit, Joker? Really? For Smash? Like, that's not what I was expecting. Now, you can absolutely guarantee that there is a Persona 5 port being made for Switch as we speak. They're just not going to talk about it until Joker is out for Smash. But goddamn, for a first character for your DLC, that is definitely a choice. Our choice. I have been playing through Persona 5 recently, or at least I've been making the attempt. I'm still on the first dungeon, so yeah. It's going to take me a while to get through that one. Maybe I'll talk about it when I'm partway through, but, well, then again, probably no point. But yeah, it was mostly shit. They really could have cut that in half. They could have gotten rid of most of the esports. They could have brought in a few more categories that actually mattered instead of wasting so much time on the bloody esports figures. And not to mention, was there a dedicated handheld award this year? I mean, obviously there's a reason why. Like, the Vita's gone, more or less. Like, it's completely faded out of relevance. It was trying to hold on for the past few months, but it's gone at this point. And you've got the Switch, which is a hybrid, so there's nothing that's truly handheld on that one. So it's mainly just mobile games at this point. And they shouldn't be talked about at all in a serious game award show, but I digress. Epic has announced their own game store, and they've actually snapped up exclusivity for a bunch of potentially interesting things, like Super Meat Boy Forever, the PC version of Journey, which is actually a thing. Nobody's talking about it. Like, there was no announcement for that. It was just a store page they never bothered to take down. So they end up just going and having everyone else talk about it. That was a bit of a bizarre announcement going on there. But yeah, they did Ashen, which was previously going to be like a Windows Store and Xbox One thing. It's still on the Xbox One, but there's no like play anywhere like they promised. Supergiant's next new game is apparently a thing on it. So they've got a bunch of exclusive they just ripped out, and they have just been stealing them, more or less. Like, they've been stealing them from Steam and the Windows Store because they're not going to be there for 6 to 12 months. I think, was it Infinifactory or Satisfactory? It was one or the other. I think it was Satisfactory is going to be exclusive to them for 12 months as well. So most people aren't going to download it. That's just a thing. Like, I've got enough launchers on my computer already. I've got Battle.net, Origin, Uplay, and of course Steam. So I don't want to go adding yet another one just to play something from Supergiant and Ashen. So yeah, that's a problem. And apparently they don't even have community forums or community reviews yet, which is absolutely bizarre. Like, you'd think they'd at least have them to bring it at least remotely on par with Steam. They've also apparently got a really shitty refund policy in the sense that they get to choose what is refunded, in the sense that they get to choose whether or not the purchase was quote-unquote in error. Bad store, bad. I'm gonna hit you with a newspaper. That's bad. You need to be able to at least let people refund for some reasonable reasons. Like, I understand why Steam's refund system has a lot of problems, but at the same time, being able to refund any game within 2 hours for any reason whatsoever is a really good thing, mainly because there are games that just won't work, games aren't just described on the box and stuff like that. I've made use of that refund policy a lot, but it's also convinced me to pick up games I wouldn't have tried otherwise. And to have Epic Games basically go, no, or at the very least, they say they're going to do a policy which is like, you can get a refund within the first 2 weeks, no questions asked, but it's not like that apparently, so whatever. Steam's back on the censorship bandwagon again though, so it's not like it's going to be particularly fantastic about that. They have apparently been shuttering games that have young-looking characters in them. It's just getting weird at this point, Steam. We all know you've got one rogue employee who really doesn't like Japanese... It's not even Japanese stuff, it's Japanese style stuff. Like, it's like visual novels that clearly have a Japanese, like, tone to them, but are made by Americans or Europeans that are being locked out because... Why? We don't know. I'm guessing it's just a rogue employee at this point that really needs to get fired, because there's not much other explanation for what's going on there. Like, they're banning visual novels that have characters that are of age just because they look too young. Someone's clearly got some kind of pedophilic thoughts on the mind, but it's not the developers, it's not the people who are buying them, it's probably Steam. Or at the very least, this one Steam person. So, yeah, you got Epic, who's got basically nothing in the way of Steam's features. You got Steam, who are just deciding to get rid of games based purely on what the characters look like. And then you've got Origin, which is, you know, EA. And then you've got Uplay, which is Ubisoft. And then you've got Battle.net, which is Activision. None of these stores are looking any good. Oh well. So the PlayStation Classic, and I hate to bring this thing up again, but I'm just going to mention it just for the fun of it. But yeah, it's been hacked wide open. It's done. Like, it is possible to add games to it. It's possible to add games to the internal storage. It's possible to have just like a USB drive in the front with a bunch of games on it. It is just easy to do now. It's not 100% easy, but we are still in early days of the mod. I imagine in 3 weeks we're going to have the USB board hanging off the back so that you can use both controllers at the same time. It's going to have games that aren't on the PlayStation, and it's going to run a hell of a lot better because I saw a video comparing the performance between the PlayStation Classic with its default software and the SNES Classic with RetroArch running a PlayStation emulator, both running the same game, and somehow the SNES Classic runs better despite the PlayStation Classic having better hardware in general. What the hell? How does that happen? That is just absolutely bizarre. But yeah, hacked wide open, give it a couple of weeks and you'll be able to just download a bunch of ISOs, stick them on a flash drive, and plug it into the back of the thing and you'll be able to play them as much as you like. Maybe I'll pick one up when they go on sale or something, but yeah, I'm not picking one up for the 20 games they got on there, although Daniel Libbetson recently did a fantastic little piece on Intelligent Cube, and I really do want to play that game again now. Maybe that'll be the next PS1 game I do. I know I promised I'd do Silent Bomber, and I probably will do that, but Intelligent Cube is also on the queue, so that's a thing. Street Fighter V has advertisements now. This is an absolutely bizarre story. They've replaced tattoos with the Capcom Pro Tour logo, and if you go on any of the 3 stages they're using for the competitive stuff, there'll be advertisements all over the place, and they've even got advertisements when you're loaded to the training mode for the alternative costume packs. What the hell? Like, seriously, that is just... For a game that people paid $60 for 2 to 3 years ago, and, you know, slightly less as time has gone on, but I digress, for them to be inserting advertisement like that is just bizarre. Sure, you can turn it off, and if you keep it turned on, you get like a pittance extra worth of that in-game currency that they love so much, but I mean, it just seems utterly beyond the pale. Like, imagine if they were patching games a year or 2 after they came out to have advertisements for Red Bull or something like that. It just seems against the point. In-game advertisement is actually a good thing when it's done right. Like, for example, Burnout Paradise, way back when it first came out. I bought that, and they had advertisements for real-world things on the billboards in that game, and it didn't interfere in the slightest, because it felt more... Well, I mean to say it feels more real when it's bloody Burnout Paradise. It doesn't feel anywhere remotely close to real, but it still felt like relatively in sync with the world and just the general idea of the billboards. Then you get Capcom, who literally replace characters' tattoos with their own logo, and it suddenly feels a bit over the top. Thank God I didn't hold on to Street Fighter V. I tried Street Fighter V, I really did. But I couldn't stand it, if I'm being perfectly honest. This is coming from someone who has dozens of hours in Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 5 just didn't feel right. It felt like a more aggressive version of Street Fighter 4 and also extremely boring at the same time. So, there you go. Then again, my favorite's still Third Strike. I don't even play that much Third Strike, but it still happens to be my favorite. So, there you go. Battle Royale continues embedding its claws into literally everything. It can be kind of bizarre. First off, we've got PlanetSide Arena, which was announced a few hours before I recorded this video, which has, like, the typical 250 versus 250 battles going on in PlanetSide, which, you know what, that's a good thing. Like, that's fine. It's what PlanetSide does, and maybe it'll be a little bit more structured and interesting. Because I tried PlanetSide 2 before, and while the massive scale, tons of vehicles and all that is pretty impressive in the grand scheme of things, it has a significant lack of direction, and considering that it's a free-to-play game enhanced by the microtransactions, it kind of feels a bit weird about it, in the sense that it just means that you don't feel like you have anything to do unless you go and pop in with a squad, and even then it feels like you're not making that much of an impact on the world. At the same time, with PlanetSide Arena, and judging purely by the little announcement that I've read about it, which is literally just, it doesn't really have that much to it. Hang on, I'll go look it up on Steam because I want to. So, let's see. All pre-order editions, great. So it's going to be a paid thing, which means they're probably not going to fill up those 500-player battles. But yeah, join the fight in the massive clash of 250 versus 250 player arenas. Okay, so I'm guessing, yeah, on a scale unrivaled by any other arena game. So when they say arena, I'm going to assume that they mean that game will be just, you know, score-based, so at least there's a little something to go for, or at the very least something like Conquest, i.e. Battlefield, but yeah, it's, I'm hoping that'll be how it turns out. But then again, having a Battle Royale mode in that sort of thing is going to be absolutely bizarre as well, because, well, it's PlanetSide. I've played PlanetSide. Their gunplay probably doesn't really adapt well to Battle Royale, but everybody's got to do Battle Royale these days. I wouldn't be surprised if the next Pokemon doesn't have a Battle Royale mode. Oh god, now that I've said it, it's actually going to happen. And the other thing about Battle Royale that's sinking its hooks into everything is bloody Counter-Strike. I mean, I never would have thought I would see Counter-Strike Global Offensive go free to play, and that's probably the reason why it's getting review bombed in the recent reviews right now. Can't even touch the all reviews, which is like 2.8 million very positive reviews. But yeah, it's kind of ridiculous how it ended up getting not only a Battle Royale mode, but it's gone free to play. They've done something along the lines of a sort of paid matchmaking tier, where if you have paid for the game before, you can only choose to match with people who've paid for the game. This might keep some of the hackers out of the paid stuff, but it's probably not going to keep all of them. Counter-Strike has had a problem with hackers for ages. And yeah, Battle Royale for Counter-Strike, there's only like 18 people and the rounds only last 10 minutes. Admittedly, I can imagine that actually being pretty engaging. I haven't tried it myself because I'm not very good at Counter-Strike, but the gunplay would probably make for some decent skill-based shooting at the very least. So, but yeah, the fact that it's gone free to play is kind of amazing to me. A lot of people have been complaining about it, but at the same time, maybe it's doing okay for itself. Who knows? The next couple of weeks are probably going to pan that out. So I've already talked about all the other stories I had, so the last thing I've got is, I know this is talking about an announcement, but it's an announcement that's interesting in the grand scheme of things, especially considering the history. John Romero, the man who's going to make you his bitch, has announced that he is making a free Chapter 5 for the Ultimate Doom called Sigil. It's going to be a free megawad. It'll have 8 single-player levels and 8 deathmatch levels, if I'm remembering this correctly. And you can go and download it for free when it comes out, but there are also limited-run games editions of it where you can pay for boxes for the damn thing that are like 100-something bucks each. It's a weird way to do it, but at the same time, it's John Romero back doing Doom. He didn't actually do most of the levels anyway, past like episode 1. So it'll be a bit weird to see him come back in and design levels for what's basically hell at this point. So yeah, I just thought that was a weird announcement, not to mention it's going to be free. Like, how neat is that? Just thought I'd talk about it, because I'm looking forward to it. I am a fan of the original Doom, I am a fan of Brutal Doom, I am a fan of Project Brutality, and I need to put more time into Doom. So there you go. I will probably take a look at that when it comes out, although it probably won't be a video, because, well, that probably doesn't seem like something I'd be particularly good at. I'm not great at Doom, I'm not great at anything. And finally, Bethesda is still screwing up Fallout 76 by leaking the details of a bunch of customer support tickets to one dude. If this game could be any more of a disaster, I don't see how. Like, I legitimately don't know how they could screw it up more beyond this point. It seems absolutely impossible, but this is Bethesda we're talking about. They can do anything at this point. They better pull the shiniest piece of crap out of their ass for Starfield, otherwise things aren't going to go so good for them in the future. Although admittedly they're probably still sitting on an absolute bed of money from Fallout and the Elder Scrolls. Porting Skyrim like 6 times has probably lined their pockets so much that they can realistically jump off the Empire State Building and survive the impact due to the padding of all the money that they owed. So that's pretty much it for the interesting news this week. So what's coming up next on the channel? Well, I am going to try and do those other Vita games that come out. If you don't remember, that was Atari Flashback Classics and Night Trap. Again, I'm going to try and wait for review code for them so I don't have to spend the money, because again, I'm a little bit light on cash right now, but well, one way or another, we'll see. I'll try and get them one way or another. I did get review code for Dragonflight Chronicles though, and that will be Monday's video. So I was going to have it out on Friday, but due to a couple of production issues, it was just a little bit too late. That was kind of unfortunate because I got the video done relatively quick. I just had a couple of problems with it. And then after that, it's going to be Earth Defense Force 5 and Just Cause 4, both of which I paid for thanks to PlayAsia, so, you know, you're going to be hearing that at the beginning of those videos, you know damn well what's coming. So, those are the 2 videos I'm going to put out on Wednesday and Friday if I don't get around to doing those other Vita games. So, yeah, there you go. How close are we to Christmas? We'll be a week from Christmas next time I have to record Talking to the Wall. That'll be interesting. I don't know what I plan on putting up at that point, but, well, we'll find out when we get there. So, you know the drill. Like, subscribe, comment, share the video around if you liked it. Hope you enjoyed the other videos. I'm willing to listen to comments. If you have any questions about the games industry you want me to answer, I'll take them in the comments, but chances are if I get as many views as I did last time, it's probably not going to be any questions, but oh well. See you next week, hopefully.